Hello everyone, this is the CS Revelation with another video on Java, and this video is going to be focusing on the while loops. Now in the previous video we talked about the for loops, and we said that a for loop is a definite loop. That means you know exactly how many iterations you're going to achieve by just looking at the signature of the loop, and it's a predefined set of repetitions. Now, a while loop does not necessarily iterate a specific number of times. Rather, as long as its control expression is true, so as long as this control expression is true, a while loop will continue to iterate. So this type of loop is very useful in situations where a for loop would be ineffective. So particularly when the user is given the opportunity to interact with the program. So a while loop is considered to be indeterminate or indefinite loop. It usually only at runtime can it be determined how many times it will iterate. So only at runtime it's going to be determined how many times it will iterate. Now I'm going to give you an example, and also I just wanted to mention that a while loop is considered to be a top checking loop because it checks for the condition before executing the body. So it checks if the condition is true or not. So this is the structure, is that you have a while keyword. It must be a lowercase while. Then in parentheses, you have the control expression, and then the curly brackets to specify the body of the loop. Now let's take a look at an example. Say, for example, that we wanted to achieve the same thing we achieved in the previous program, the previous video with for loops. Say we wanted to print the word hello 5 times. Now, using a while loop means we're going to have a control expression that's going to guarantee me 5 trues, right? 5 true conditions. Okay, so let's declare an iterator. I'm going to call this I, and I'm going to set it to equal to 0. And then I'm going to write my while loop. So I'm going to say while I is less than or equal to 5, do the following, and that is going to be to simply system out print. So system out print hello. Okay. All right. Okay, let's fix this and fix that. Okay, so we want to print the word hello 5 times, but we need a line of code that after every print, we need to change the value of I, right? So I starts at 0, so we want to increment it, for example, by 1, right? So let's see what this code is going to achieve. So here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a 6 total number of iterations, and that is because we started at 0. So now starting at 0, we get to this loop. So let's trace this loop. Now, the way Java executes code is one line at a time. So let's execute the first line. I is equal to 0. And then we get to this line. And it's a question that is being asked. Is I less than or equal to 5? And the answer is true. 0 is less than or equal to 5. Therefore, let's execute this. And that's going to result in printing the word hello and incrementing I by 1. Now, because this is a loop, we're going to go back to the signature and test for the control expression again. So the new I is 1 because we incremented by 1. 0 becomes a 1. Is 1 less than or equal to 5? That is true, so let's execute this again. And that resulted in this hello. Let's increment I by 1 again, and I becomes a 2. Is 2 less than or equal to 5? And that's going to result in this print. And then I becomes a 4, and then I becomes a 5, and then I becomes a 6. So 5, for 0 we print this, for 1 we print this, for 2 we print this, for 3 we print this, for 4 we print this, and for 5 we printed that. And that's a total of 6 prints. But when I becomes a 6, this becomes a false. 6 less than or equal to 5 is false, therefore the loop exits. Okay, so now to confirm that it's actually became 6i, let's print I one more time after the loop exits. So it should print 6. There you go. So 6 is the value of I after the loop, which made the loop exit and stop the iteration process. Now, when looking at this, you really don't know when just looking at the control expression, you really don't know how many iterations you achieve, right? But in contrast, when looking at the for loop, by looking at the signature, I can bring that up again. Looking at the signature, you will be able to determine how many iterations. Because by just doing some math, calculating the difference between 10 and 1, because you're incrementing by 1, you will be able to determine that it's 10 iterations. But with the while loop, you really don't know when this is going to become false, right? It's all based on the logic and what's going to be calculated in the body of the loop. It is simple that we're just incrementing by 1, but it could be another calculation process that you wanted to achieve, and based on that, the loop is going to exit. So only at runtime, the loop will determine when to exit out of that loop. Also, I wanted to advise you not to make the mistake here again. Also, do not put a semicolon here to end this line, because that's going to isolate the signature from the body. And that's going to end in a infinite loop. And an infinite loop means that it's going to keep running forever. And that is because the condition is never false, right? The condition does never become false. It's always true. So there's nothing that changes this condition. And it's still running, by the way. So an infinite loop is when the condition is never met. That means it runs forever. Okay? So that's one practice that I want you guys to avoid. And in the next, now this is about while loops, just a quick video to, describe while loops. What else to say about while loops? So just to recap, so we have a while keyword, and after the while keyword, we have a control expression. As long as this control expression is true, this will keep iterating. So once this becomes a false, then it stops and it exits. Okay. Now, and I think that this process applies to any programming language when dealing with loops. Okay, so in the next video, I'm going to go over the do while loop, and I will compare these two loops to see the differences. So stay tuned to the next one. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.